Welcome to Mac and Bleu, where we introduce you to who is building Arizona, bringing you the people and businesses that shape the landscape around us. From economic development and developers, underwriters and lenders, architects and engineers, to the very builders and suppliers that bring it all together. Now let's join our hosts, Robert Johnson and JJ Levensky, aka Mac and Bleu.
Welcome to Mac and Bleu. I'm JJ Levinsky, your host, co-founder and president of Blue Wave General Contracting. We have some awesome guests today, fellow podcasters, serial networkers. I said networkers, not killers. So without further ado, we have Crystal Pierce and we have Cassie Wells. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
We've got so much. That hour is going to go way too fast. For the audience's sake, to get to know you, a lot of them will because of our kind of cross-branding and everything. But I always like to start with an icebreaker. So for each one of you,
oh boy,
if money and time were off the table, what would you be doing differently right now? In other words, kind of that utopian dream. So for you, Crystal, first.
I think I would definitely be traveling the world, either in my Earth Roamer or my private catamaran yacht.
We got to get together and compare notes.
Wow.
I like that.
That would be my dream.
I love that.
Cassie?
Mine would be traveling, but mine is more focused on, I got little kids at home, and so I want to spend as much time with them as possible and then also not spend as much time with them. You know what I'm saying?
So bring the nanny with.
Yeah.
Or
Have like kid
nannies.
trip, like Disneyland, and then like mom and dad trip, and then, kid trip. That's what I think I would do. Because I always have the mom guilt of not spending enough time with them. So I would want to spend time with them and get away.
Right.
Does that make sense? Or
Yes,
It does.
absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
That's a really good question. What would you be doing?
Mine is actually more on yours. So when my wife and I, when we talk, it's always about, we've always been the big sailing, like our dream is a catamaran. For just under 50-foot catamaran, just travel around the world type thing. But then mine, that would be too much. So for my off time, I still love tinkering. So I said, well, if San Diego was our port, I'd just be the handyman guy on the dock that had my little truck with all my tools, and I'd fix sailboats.
There you go.
And then our other part was then when we want to go skiing, we'd go up to Tahoe and ski because we actually got married on the ski slope. So we like the skiing and sailing combination.
Oh, I like that.
That's fun.
See, my husband is a cabin guy, and I'm a beach house person, and so we talk about this all the time. Like, which one would we get first?
Let's just spend the whole.
I guess
get
time will
both.
tell.
Let's
time will tell.
spend the podcast on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
All right, so cool. Little bit of background for the audience's sake. If I can, Cassie and Crystal, it's funny, we just finally formally met for the first time, which is, I think, almost weird
That's
because
crazy.
of
It is weird.
our social networks and
We
what we
feel
do.
like we know each other. though.
Yeah.
But I probably got introduced to the two of you at CCS when you guys are doing all your fun stuff, the spinning of the chairs and where everyone got to know you.
Spin.
Yes.
Controversial chair spin.
But then to your credit, you guys just launched your own podcast called CNC in the AEC.
We
which
did.
Cassie and Crystal in the architectural engineering and construction. So
Good
for all the
job.
acronym people out there,
Thank you.
we got an A on that. Now, but then even more importantly, both of you have moved on to other careers. Crystal, you're now a director of business development at F.F.K.R. Architects.
I am.
yeah. And Cassie, you've started your own gig.
I did.
And the name of that is Modern Business Development. I had to look at the cheat
I
sheet.
thought you were going to guess.
No,
I was looking
my
forward to
memory
guess.
sucks.
You are doing an amazing job
So-
already with
I know.
having two people on.
Congratulations to both of you.
Thank you.
Now, but again, we have to just peel back the onion a little bit more and let the audience know you. So, Crystal, start with you. I don't want the
Yes.
full bio,
Yes.
but kind of grown up, education, kind of how did you get to where you're at right now?
Okay.
In under
Okay.
10 minutes.
Okay. I will try to do that.
Just so that we can have a connection to you.
Yes. So I'm actually an Arizona native. I grew up in Kingman with my grandparents. I attended NAU, and I actually dual majored in elementary and special education. So my background is in education. I was a teacher for 17 years, and 4.5 years ago,
16 of those, she was seeing a therapist.
That's actually partially true.
Well, I'm just saying, my wife's a teacher. My sister-in-law's a
mom's a
teacher, so
teacher.
I can
I get
relate.
it.
God bless her. God
Yeah.
bless. Yes. So 4.5 years ago, I had the amazing opportunity with CCS Presentation Systems, and I was their first director of business development. And so I've been in the industry for 4.5 years now. I recently started with F.F.K.R, French fries, ketchup, and relish. Just
No,
kidding.
I never heard you say that.
Is that the new tagline?
That is how I'm getting people to remember.
Yeah.
So we are full service.
Hey, Sean, mark that down. French fries, ketchup, and relish. Because
You guys are making me
that's the name of the episode. I can tell you that right now.
Do we have any burgers in the
love
break room?
it, right? It's clever.
I like it.
Yeah. So FFKR, we are headquartered in Salt Lake City, Utah. We have been in business for 45 years now. We're full service architecture, interior design, landscape architecture and planning, and also environmental graphic design. So we do everything. We specialize in all target markets except for residential. And actually, they hired me here in Arizona to help them obviously in the Arizona market, but here we are focusing on hospitality, healthcare, senior living, and multifamily.
So but in your role, you're just Arizona. You're not your BD isn't direct.
My BD is in Arizona because we already have a rockstar BD director in Utah.
Okay,
So yes, that is my focus here.
cool.
Yeah. So that is a little bit about me. I also, on top of working for FFKR, I love to travel. I am learning how to golf. I have been learning how to golf for about 4 years now.
So in other words, her drinking habits have gone up considerably. And her swearing.
And also, I run 3 different networking groups here in the Valley. So
Nice.
CRENAB, Wind Down Wednesday, Renegades, and I have a Chicks with Sticks group. So that's helping me learn how to golf as well. And then Cassie and I are also doing our new podcast, and we are loving it. So yes.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And you're learning Italian.
And I'm learning Italian.
Ciao.
Come stai?
He's like,
That's
"Bleh."
good. No, I'm not going to respond. I know a little Italian, but I'm not going to because I'll just embarrass myself. I'm proud of you.
Yes.
That's good.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Well, geez, Cassie, I don't know how you're going to top
And I'm happy
that.
I'm so happy
I
to be
know.
here. I was so excited to
Good.
be on your podcast. I've been listening, and we're learning from you.
Well, we're learning together. That's why
Yeah.
we're,
And
that's why
when
we're
are
here.
you going to be on
Yeah.
our podcast?
Whenever you want.
Great.
All right,
Right.
Cassie. How about you? Background.
Background. So I went to ASU, even though I went to high school in Tucson. So very controversial. Yeah.
You must have been
That,
ostracized.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. My mother, my brother, my grandfather, like everyone went to U of A, but not me. Lone devil. So I graduated with my BS in marketing through F.F.K.R. And I was hired by the VP of Sales for CCS directly at a career fair.
Oh, wow.
So started with them very quickly. I was with them. I was a sales rep for about 6 years. And then my husband and I had a 5-year plan for children, which was sped up a little bit. Surprise. She's a very pleasant surprise. But we had to move it up a little bit. And so Paul ended up leaving his job at Microchip Technology, took over all of my accounts at CCS, which CCS was like, absolutely, let's do it. So I stayed home, worked part-time for CCS for 3 years while I had babies. And then the VP of sales called me and said, hey, I'm looking to semi-retire. Do you want to come manage the corporate sales team? I'm like, yeah, it's time. Let's do it. You know, my youngest was going into preschool. I'm like, okay. So that's when I started working closer with Crystal. I had worked with her part-time, but
That's where you guys met, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. We met when you first started.
I didn't know if you guys had met prior, like in a social gathering or
No,
one of
we
the
had not.
groups or networking
It's
type
at
things.
CCS.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you were pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
So I only briefly met her when I started at CCS.
Yeah, it was when I was part-time, which was cool. I worked part-time for them. I supported Paul's accounts, and then I also did a lot of lead gen and calling on specific projects and helped the sales team, which was really cool. I could do that an hour a day during the baby's nap time, so
Right.
I did. And then I came back in 2020. What a time to come back.
Yes.
Wild time to come back. And that's when Crystal and I really started working together as a team. And we generated a lot of business.
And that was the best time.
It was the best, man. Our ramp up was pretty fun and pretty substantial, and we got a lot of stuff done. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then
That's my story.
the current endeavor, though?
Well, so we both, our last day with CCS was December 31st, and we both started our new ventures. Mine was my business. Hers, obviously, French fries, ketchup, and relish.
I got to admit,
It's
that's catchy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I started Modern Business Development, and what we do, I say we, but it's just me.
Yeah.
What we do, and I'm not going to stop.
She's a whole team of people within herself.
It's
Just
probably
ask her.
my
Exactly.
multiple personalities.
Yeah.
That's I think why I say it.
Yeah.
Me, myself, and
We
Irene
offer-
over here.
Yeah. So we offer business development services to subcontractors and trade partners and service providers in the construction industry. So that's who I represent. And I currently represent, CCS was my first client.
Oh, how appropriate.
Yeah, that was a nice transition.
Well, they needed someone to
Yeah.
do business development for
yeah,
them.
because you were gone.
It was perfect, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
Timing was perfect. So CCS Presentation Systems is one of my clients, Corporate Interior Systems, furniture, and then Dirk's Moving and Logistics.
Oh.
Yeah,
So what? Because it's so appropriate for when we did when we started the Mac and Blue podcast, the Building Arizona, kind of that holistic kind of thing. I think that the idea of modern business development was it nights, bottles of wine, weekends. What precipitated?
prompted it?
Or all the above.
It's a little bit of my experience at CCS. As the corporate sales manager, I was responsible for my own quota, and I was also responsible for the quota of my team. They had to make it as well. And I found myself spending and enjoying my time on the business development side, bringing in the opportunities, hunting, hooking the fish, and then I would hand it to a rep is kind of how that worked for me. I'd fill my quota and then be like, I don't know that I want to manage this all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
That part's a little more stressful. I like bringing them in. And really,
Not
like
quite as fun.
It wasn't, I mean, yeah. For me, it was, I like the hunt. I like catching them. I love when someone's like, hey, you're my AV person. I'm calling you. Let's do this. That's what I enjoyed. And so my husband and I take our kids to Montana every year, and we go for a week, and we fish along the Madison River, and it's the best thing in the world. And we were on our way home, and I was coming home to about 2,000 emails. I was pretty sad about it, sitting on, because we drive, because the kiddos are so young, and we're just driving through Utah and like whooshing past all these buildings, and I'm like, oh, they're in Phoenix now. They're in Phoenix now. They're in Phoenix now. I'm like, Paul, what if there was someone to represent them, all of these companies that are flooding to Arizona, who have no business development presence, who have no relationships? What if there was someone there to help them with their business development? And that's really where it started. I had a notebook in my purse, and I started taking notes, and very slowly but surely, let me just get my LLC to save the name. Let me just get my bank account so I can save my domain and it was like one very small step at a time to the point where I was like, I got to do this. This is where my heart is. I'm too excited about it. I got to do it. So that's how it all happened.
So you basically launched it all within 6 months then?
Yeah, I got my LLC, I think in August, and then I officially launched in January.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I take it the reception has been pretty good so far.
Yeah.
I mean, because just look at with you two and your network alone, it's like, oh, Cassie's doing this. Well, I'll go over there.
Yeah, there was a lot more interest. I thought I was so ready. I was ready to pitch my "This is why business development is important" speech, and that really wasn't the case. It was people were like, oh my gosh, we need this. Because they wanted part-time without having to hire full-time, without the benefits, the insurance. And so people were very, very excited about the idea, which made it nice. Very busy January and February.
Again, in our industry, are you finding, because I think this is the unique breakdown, are you finding that it's more trade partner subcontractors, general contractors, engineers, architects, all the above, or are you finding any flows with it so far?
So I will not represent a general. I will not represent an architect because I don't want to hitch my wagon to any particular source of leads, if you will.
Okay, that makes sense.
My focus is just on subcontractors, service providers, trade partners.
Got it.
However, the interest was all over the board.
Okay, you answered the question.
Yeah.
Go a little deeper into what that looks like for the audience sake right now, as far as that.
Like, what does business development encompass?
Yeah, I think a lot of people have a difference of definition, right, or a difference of opinion of what that looks like. So can you give me how, like, if I'm a neophyte and I come in, I'm like, all right, Cassie, what does that mean to me?
Yeah,
You know, I'm Bob's Plumbing.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me how it works.
Okay, so
it's a good question.
Yeah, no, it's a great question, and it's difficult to explain because business development is so inherently difficult to measure. Yes,
It is.
So business development services include attending networking events. When I attend, I'm attending as modern business development. However, when I'm there and I'm making connections, these are all connections that can help at least one or more of my clients. So if I have, let's say all 3 of my clients are focused on healthcare,
okay,
and I meet, director of pre-con at Dignity Health or at Honor Health or something of that nature, I can then take the individual that I meet, bring all of my clients to a lunch. Everyone's winning. And so it's very strategic in the connections, in the hunt, while still attending networking events and business development events. It does not, I always put this on my proposals, it does not include event planning, although I'm happy to invite my network. It does not include sales training, although I inherently can't help but coach myself. I'm like, I can't help but do it. So it just kind of happens. And one thing that I do with my clients is I meet with all of the sales reps so that I understand, where are you as an individual with your goals? Who are you meeting with? What targets are you trying to get in with? Is there a client you've been trying to get in with for 10 years and you can't break them? Let me help you break them. Like, I enjoy that stuff. So it was very similar to our sales meetings we used to have at CCS.
Right.
Very focused and strategic and targeted. So I continued that on. Does not include marketing or website or social media, although when I attend on behalf of a client, I'm always happy to post and tag, but I'm not juggling like 15, different passwords and stuff like that. That's not part of what I do.
So is your goal, if I can project and look out, are you eventually going to build a staff around you, or do you want to keep it more boutique and niche, just so it's Cassie?
Yeah, I've been thinking about that lately.
Not to put you on the spot, but
it's a great question, and you're not the first person to ask me that. You're not the first person to ask me that today. Oh. So
there you go, Crystal.
I've been warmed up. No, so I'm at a crossroads where I can build and have either a business development rock star taking their own accounts alongside me, or do I take on additional clients with someone supporting me on the back end, doing the things that I don't necessarily have the time to do for the business, which a big thing, we were just talking about this last week, is follow-up. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. Like, I firmly believe that is where all the money is made. That's where all the connections are made. That's what makes you elite. And if you're doing so much during the day that you don't have time to follow up, what you're doing during the day doesn't matter.
We now have both discussed this and how we have to put in our calendars at least 1 full day to 2 days a week just to be working on follow-up with people and then scheduling new meetings with people.
There comes a time when dreams become a reality, when you see your vision materialize into a true work of art. And the only way to get there is to choose a general contractor who shares that same vision and knows how to bring it to life. At Blue Wave, we aren't so big that we've forgotten where we've come from, and we aren't so small that we can't care for your projects regardless of their size. When your vision deserves safety, perfection, timeliness, and expertise in order to become a reality, trust Blue Wave to get it done right the first time.
It's a lot.
Oh, I could talk for hours on that one because
Yes.
I have a strong bias. Let's go down that rabbit hole because I think for the audience's sake, it's worthwhile. In my old curmudgeon self, I'm very proud that I take every phone call and email. I know that sounds crazy for an executive like myself, but I do it. I take pride.
I
in it.
admire you for
I take,
that.
Yeah,
I
that's
take,
big.
I
That's
take pride
amazing.
in it. But here's what I do. Everything's a test too. So, the solicitations that I get, I will listen to everyone. But the first thing I do is I always set a parameter of a follow-up. In other words, no one's good enough to get a one-call close with me. No one, okay? Because I remember what it was like. You guys do too.
Right.
Hustle, hustle, hustle. You want my business, you're going to earn it. I cannot believe, easily 95% maybe or higher, no one follows up. Once I set that bar,
That's true too.
that challenge of, all right, you want it? Okay, we'll do this. And I don't make it, like I'm not looking for a 30-page RFP or anything, or,
No.
I'm not looking for a lunch at Steak 44. I don't, it's more like, no, just do these simple things. And easily, like I said, 95%, none of them follow up.
That's how you weed them out.
Done, gone, see you later.
Yeah.
And then 3 months later, when the replacement comes in, hey, I saw that you were on our book. I'm like, no, see you later. Or maybe I'll give that person then a try. And
Yeah.
but usually it's the same systematic, programmatic thing.
Yeah.
Agreed?
We just talked about this. It hasn't even aired yet on
Yeah.
a podcast that we recorded
did.
last week. And I was mentioning my way of doing that was when someone wants to meet with me and perhaps I don't have time, or I say, hey, follow up with me in June. And if they follow up with me in
Then
June,
you're
they
serious.
actually
Then they're
do.
serious.
They do want to meet with me.
Yep.
If they forget about it, if they don't put it on their calendar, probably a little unorganized, probably don't really care, just something to do, then it weeds them out.
They hit their sales call quota for the day.
That's what I'm saying.
But why is it that no one follows up or no one actually sends you the dates to schedule the meeting, or they'll send you that text saying we should get together, but then they never do? Why is that?
Well, Crystal, it's the same, and Cassie, it's the same thing. One in the hand is worth two in the bush, right? So we could go around this conversation for a lot of times, is that same 5 minutes that you took to try to acquire a new client, if you would put 5 minutes into garnishing and strengthening the one you already have, what does that lead to? I mean, all the data is out there to support. I mean, we all come from the same backgrounds of take care of the ones that you have and then incrementally or organically grow the other parts. But yeah, I think you see a lot of companies where they just go focus new. I think, Cassie, on your cheat sheet here, one of you put something about growth
The
versus
seeds.
Yeah,
Yes.
where was
Seeds.
it? Yeah.
I'm a seed person.
So I'm interested.
What's most important to Cassie and I both is developing, nurturing, and fostering relationships,
Yep.
new and old. That's what business development is.
Well, and
It's really investing in the relationships.
Right.
Yeah.
And it takes work.
And-
And it's it's
It
does.
bums people out when they.
but I know,
It
but
does.
business development, it's the long game.
Yeah.
It's not something that just happens overnight.
No.
And I mean, like you said, 95% of people don't want to do that.
No,
They just want immediate results. And that's not.
that really bums people out.
Yeah.
Well, and it's not just the people that are looking to do that. It's also the executives that are making decisions on business development. They're not aware that if you bring someone brand new to this industry, it's going to take the industry a year to learn their name and their face.
Right.
Period. It's going to be another year before they're like, oh, you're with this company. Oh, Crystal's with CCS. It's going to be the third year when they have an audiovisual need and they're
Right.
like, gotta call my girl Crystal.
Yep.
That is how that works. It takes time. It's a long-term investment. But when you finally hit that and you ramp up, it skyrockets.
Yeah.
So, under the paradigm of the discussion we just had, then, Cassie, when I think about what you're doing with your new business, are you able to, is that one of the first things you discuss with them? Because even as good as you are, you can't have immediate results.
No,
So,
totally. I mean, I only offer 6-month and 12-month contracts.
okay.
And at that point, I'm like, this is a test drive compared to what the actual process is going to be like.
Right.
Yeah, I have to.
It's like you giving them a little teaser
Yeah.
of what things could be like.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And, for clients, when I sit down and meet with them, if they're like, okay, well, how do I know in 2 weeks if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing? I'm like, oh, not a good
Yeah.
fit.
Right.
Because if I'm going to
Yes.
have to prove myself every single day, that's different. I provide an activity log so I can say that these are all the people that I met with. These are all the activities I did. This is what was specific to your firm. But measuring sales, I mean, my first sale might not be till November for someone, right? By the time an opportunity is brought in. But the idea is that my clients do such a good job in completing that job that then that customer is a customer for life. Let me go find another one, right? And so I'm all about the seeds, right? We're planting new seeds. We're watering. Each relationship is in a different stage. You got to remember that. Every single relationship that you have is in a different stage. And so you can't plant a seed and pick an apple. That's not how it works. However, some of these I've been planting for a while, and they're growing, right? And so let's pick from them. They already trust me. They already know me in the industry. Like, let's go to them while we build new ones for you. That's how I look at it.
I think a good lesson here, again, just to try to help the audience, is for everyone that's out there that's trade or vendor base. So let's say Bleu, you guys know what I'm talking about. Is
Yeah, in the process.
I think those of us that are truly in the architect, engineering, and general contracting space, we know that, like, if you were to look at our Salesforce or whatever you're doing to track your CRM, okay, there's things that are cultivated in there for years before you close.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and where I think the vendor and trade base, sometimes they don't realize that. It's, and I think they could learn a little something of saying, hey, you have to foster those relationships, like what you were saying, plant the seed. Because, let's use Bob's Plumbing again, the fictitious company. They're calling me, hey, we want to bid in your work. Okay, well, that's fine. Bidding is, that's one barrier to entry. You bid, you build a relationship, those kind of things. But it might take a year for them to close on a project with us before we get to know them, they get to know us,
Of
and then
course.
then the relationship really starts. Right. And I think that just our industry, that we're so quick for gratification and satisfaction, we forget you have to have that incubation period. And so
Right.
from what you guys are saying, the audience, just listen to what the ladies are saying. It's like, put more water on the seed.
Yeah.
Maybe a little fertilizer too, doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we know what that means. I mean, metaphorically speaking, but I think that's a great takeaway.
Yeah.
Shoot, we got down that rabbit hole. But that was a good one, by the way. Back to, I wanted to ask you, Crystal, in F.F.K.R, what have you seen anything change dramatically in the last 3 to 4 months with you on the transition, where you've taken the kind of this breadth and this knowledge that the two of you had, applied it? Have you seen any direct results or anything that you'd like to share with the audience? Kind of hey, this is where I hit the wall, and this is how I got through it. Because you kind of did a kind of a cool transition, and I think it'd be a great testimony if you could say, oh, because of this, and this is how I overcame these obstacles. And I'm role playing here because I think the audience would love to hear what you've been dealing with over the last few months.
Yes. I did share a little bit on a podcast recently that we did together. For me, transitioning into the new role, I tend to be a little bit of an overachiever and a perfectionist. And so when I came into F.F.K.R, I set my standards very high for myself.
Okay.
So I went in January, and I think within my first 3 weeks, I had 40 meetings on the books. And I honestly was killing myself. I felt like I was putting so much pressure on myself just because I wanted to get our name out there, and I wanted to be everywhere, and I wanted everyone to know who's F.F.K.R. and what do we do and why are we so prestigious and why are we the best architecture firm. So I was going to every networking event, saying yes to every meeting because it was just something.
We were witness to it on social media,
I was,
by the way.
I was, but I was passionate
hasn't
about.
slept.
Man, when did she
Months.
sleep?
I was so
Never.
passionate about our company and the
Right.
firm, and I went in just like guns blazing and let's do this. And I mean, within a month, I was on the verge of burnout. So I realized it was kind of one of those things where I was doing it all wrong. And you know how we were talking about this? You go out and you are networking at every event and you say to people, "How are you?" What do they say?
Great.
They say, "I'm busy,"
Oh,
right? All the
Oh my
time.
gosh, I'm so busy.
So this is how this came up.
So busy.
I'm so busy. I'm so busy. And I realized one day, it was the first day that we recorded our very first podcast. And this is the day I realized this. We were recording our first podcast, and we'd never done a podcast before. So it was kind of new to us. We were used to, the chair spins and our little
We were yelling.
3-minute clips. And
Yeah.
all of a sudden, that whole day, we did kind of a late podcast recording. I think it was like 2 or 3. And we were recording, it was like 5 minutes. And all of a sudden I looked at her and I said, "We need to stop." And she's like, "What's going on?" I said, "I don't know anything I just said for the last 5 minutes."
'cause you were
My
so
brain
yeah.
was in so many other places. It was one of those days where I had not checked my email all day, didn't know what we were talking about. And at that minute, I decided I need to stop being so busy. Like, I think as business developers, our main goal is to develop relationships, but our main goal is really to bring in new business and work for our company, right?
Yeah.
So, but the busyness that is happening, it's a choice. We make our own schedule. So, is our busyness, is it good for the company? Is it good for us professionally, personally? Was I, with doing all of that networking and being everywhere and running here to there and not checking my email, if I'm not like doing what's actually good for the company or actually bringing in the work, I ain't busy. So it was kind of like at that point I needed to reevaluate my schedule and like, how can I still do like a phenomenal job, but do it where I'm not actually like killing myself
Yeah.
and being more productive. So it was better like, I need to learn how to better manage my schedule. And okay, I don't need to be everywhere. I don't need to accept every meeting with every person, because there were times when I found myself sitting in a meeting with someone at a different company and it was like, I don't think our companies even align, or I don't know if we can work together. And is this going to be a beneficial partnership? So that was kind of like my first initial month with the change in companies. So I think sometimes just learning in business development how to manage your busyness.
So have you been able to moderate that then over the last
Yes.
2 months per se?
Yeah. And then also, I think Cassie and I were talking about how just being out everywhere, and we're networking all the time,
Right.
which is great. You need to network. You need to build and foster relationships with people. But then having to ask everybody and everybody just having the same response, "I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy." I would always have these things in my head. Well, are you busy? Or is this just some automated robotic response that you're saying? Like, what are you guys busy doing? So now, ever since then, her and I both have been trying to like change what we say to people when they ask what we're doing, rather than saying, "I'm busy."
I like that. That's pretty profound.
So I
Kinda deep, too.
purposely do not ever use the word busy anymore.
Oh.
Like if someone says, "How are you?" I don't say, "I'm busy."
It's
I
almost
say,
like like a need to, like if someone's like, oh, I'm busy.
I feel like people think they just say that. Like,
I think they're trying to
if you're not
prove
bringing
they're
in
working.
work for your company, you're not busy.
Well, you are. You're just busy doing
But
things
like,
that are
maybe
not
not
productive.
productive. Yeah.
Correct.
so
It's a societal thing, though. It's not. That's just
It's
not.
a hustle mentality,
That's
man.
not just BD, though.
It's everyone.
Yes.
Let's be honest.
Everyone
it's
you speak with.
everyone.
Yeah.
But I just feel like, is it just we don't have anything to talk about? Or is it just we feel like we have to say we're busy? What is it? Do you think?
I don't know. I think it's a lot of subconscious.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. There's a lot of insecurity out there with everyone. I mean, we could go around and talk about our insecurities because we're secure enough talking about our insecurities, right? But a lot of
Right.
people aren't,
Right.
and so a lot of it, I still think, comes out in that subconscious form. It's a defense mechanism,
I
right?
think they want to prove.
Yeah.
I'm a hard worker.
Right.
Look, you know.
And it's easy. It's easy to do right now because it's
everyone's
mainstream.
busy.
Yeah. Well, and let's be honest. There's a lack of human capital in not only
yeah.
our industry but
Yeah.
every industry. So it's an easy knee-jerk reaction.
Sure.
De facto, call it what you want. A backstop. We could go on and on and on. I'm really proud that you said that, Crystal, because I think that a lot of people will be like, wow, that was a pretty profound and deep part of the podcast. Because if she's willing to admit it, maybe I can look at myself tomorrow and go, oh crap, I'm just churning I'm churning
Right.
butter.
Yeah. Why did I put 7 meetings on my calendar when really 2 of them can bring my company business?
Right, and go do hot yoga
And
instead.
I can still
Yes, invest in yourself instead of burnout.
It was just like I had to take a step back. And my company was telling me to do none of those things.
Right, that was just you.
It was me.
pressure
Type
you
A.
put on
It
yourself.
was me.
Yeah.
So I'm doing a much better job at managing.
Good.
But it was so funny because I ran into one of my dear friends, Christina Hyde, at a Healthcare Chicks event a couple weeks ago. And if you haven't met her, you should. She's amazing. But I went up to her and it was one of those things like, hey, hi, how are you? I haven't seen you in a long time. And her response to me was, I'm great. I'm actively productive. And I gave her a strange look. I said, really? I was like very intrigued that she used those words because I remember them. She said, how are you? And I said, my life is abundantly full. And she looked at me the same way and she said, oh. And then we both had the conversation how we were both purposely not saying I'm busy. Mm-hmm. And she's the first person besides Cassie that I had run into that we're trying to change the narrative, I guess, on not. So it's like, what else can we do to avoid that? So let's talk about fun trips we're traveling. Let's talk about what fun projects are you working on? Like, why do we just keep saying, oh, are you busy?
Well, it's almost.
I'm busy. Yeah, we're going to change the valley with this.
Well, just listening to you, it's conscious listening instead of just blah, 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 just that white noise, right?
Yeah.
But that's a good point because when you overbook yourself, when you have 7 back-to-back meetings, you're just saying what you need to say to get through it because you got to go to the next one.
You don't.
Well,
you didn't
you're
hear
just
anything
repeating
they
what she
said.
did.
Yeah.
On the podcast, Cassie, where the hell have I been? I'm thinking about this tomorrow and this from 5 minutes ago.
And
Well,
you're always in your next step or your next 3 steps as opposed to being in the moment.
Right.
And so if you schedule less and give a higher quality self and time to the moment you're in, you're going to get so much more out of it just personally and professionally, I think.
Bingo.
Right.
Good stuff.
There comes a time when dreams become a reality, when you see your vision materialize into a true work of art. And the only way to get there is to choose a general contractor who shares that same vision and knows how to bring it to life. At Bleu Wave, we aren't so big that we've forgotten where we've come from, and we aren't so small that we can't care for your projects regardless of their size. When your vision deserves safety, perfection, timeliness, and expertise in order to become a reality, trust Bleu Wave to get it done right the first time.
All right.
Sorry,
so let's go
that
from
was
one.
probably
No, it was awesome.
That was probably way down a rabbit hole.
All right. So
Busy
let's
rabbit hole.
A busy rabbit hole.
Busy down
let's
there.
go down the wolf hole now.
Oh boy.
No.
Wolf den.
No, this is good. So when you guys, you gals, you ladies, whatever,
People.
you peeps, the impetus of starting the podcast, I've shared our story about why Robert and I wanted to start Mac and Bleu and Building Arizona. You guys are, we think the world of you two. We were talking off air beforehand. It's like the more people that are doing this, the better we are as a group, right? We're trying to pay it forward just like you guys are. So when you started the CNC AEC thing, tell us about the conversation behind the scenes that you guys had too.
We wanted something. First of all, we didn't want to let each other go. As soon as
Yes.
CCS News was over.
There's a humble honesty right there.
We
We
didn't.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we couldn't just
We
not.
spent every day together.
Yeah, and what we had done at that company was just great things personally and professionally.
Right.
I
And
think.
you had to take
So
the chair spin to another level.
You can't spin in the
We
chair
miss
every
spinning in
time.
those chairs.
Yeah, you can't spin in the new ones. They're huge. They're like
you've seen
800
me in
pounds.
them. So
I can't even move
I
one.
got a special mic.
And I'm pretty strong. Oh, yeah,
Here.
you did. Yeah. They had to bring in the special mic for
We should-
Crystal today.
next time we'll bring the special mic with,
stand
okay? So Sean doesn't have to
Thanks,
do
Sean.
Sean.
production engineering 101
know.
over here.
Yeah.
No, so we wanted to offer a safe space for business development and, quite frankly, anyone in our industry
Right.
in talking about business development in a way that no one had, meaning getting vulnerable, talking about burnout, talking about
As you can
What
say,
do
I
I
feel
wear?
free just to
What
talk
do
about
I-
things I
Yeah.
probably shouldn't.
no, but
But
maybe
that's-
you should.
But
because
we
the
want to be able to do that.
conversations aren't happening.
They're not happening.
What do you do when you're late? There's no one wrote a book on it. There's no this is what you do when you're running late to a coffee. But we've done it all. We've been
Right.
45 minutes late. We've been
Mm-hmm.
2 minutes late. We've been 20 minutes early. Here's what you do in all those situations because we've done it and we've made mistakes and we've booked coffees at places that are now shut down from COVID or where the parking is in an apartment complex 2 blocks away. We've done all that stuff. So we're trying to help people give them advice that has helped us learn from our mistakes because we're not perfect. We're always making mistakes. And, we try to keep it real.
And we just want
vulnerable.
a platform, too, where we can still be ourselves.
Yeah.
And hopefully not get in trouble for it.
Oh, you won't get in trouble.
I will. You know my boss.
I know, your boss
She's
is
the worst.
the worst.
Hate that lady.
Yeah, HR.
Yeah. Yeah.
Making calls.
Well, no, I mean, so in watching what you guys have launched, kudos to you. I do
Thank
like
you.
the
Thank you.
vulnerability. I like the role playing. In other words, like when I saw the first few, and I was like, okay, where are you guys going with this? And you hit the nail on the head. It's like put yourself in the shoes so that each guest can come on and talk about an exposure, a vulnerability. Life is not perfect. Back to what you were talking about, Crystal. It's like, okay, here's the landmines. We're going to share with you the landmine stories so that when you encounter them, you have choices, optionality, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's great. Is there any shout out or call out to our audience? Because hopefully we'll just commingle and cross contaminate. So we'll breed all sorts of hybrids out of this.
Yes.
I love it.
But anyway, do you have any call outs or shout outs to the audience about what you guys want or are looking for? I mean, this is kind of your open mic period to use the Mac and Bleu podcast as a way to say, hey, for those of you out there, this is what we're looking for to get on yours.
Oh, for guests?
Yeah, we're really just looking for anyone in the industry who wants to, share their story too. We like people that are willing to come on and be raw and real. And
Yeah,
maybe
you
want
can't-
to talk about topics, that maybe haven't been discussed yet. Because a lot of the podcasts, we kind of touch on similar things, but maybe
There's a lot of content out there, and there's a
so
lot
much
there's
of
a lot
talk
of
there's so many
there's
people in our
there's
industry.
just a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
So
I think our ideal guest is an imperfect person trying their best.
Yeah.
Because then they've learned their lessons just like we have.
Yeah.
We are imperfect people just trying our best, you know? So that's who we look for in our guests. We want people that aren't afraid to say that they made a mistake
Right.
or I was in an uncomfortable situation and this is what happened. You know, it's so that we can all learn from one another. We like perspectives different than our own, you know? It's fun. Actually, one of our upcoming guests is someone who has a firm belief in sales and marketing, and it's opposite of our belief. And I'm super
We're excited about it.
to talk about that.
But see, if you get all the yes people on, what fun is
That's
that?
boring.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm excited
Good.
about is hearing different perspectives. Why do you think that? What in your life and your experiences led you to believe that? Because here's what led me to believe this, you know?
But that's the engaging part, and that's what the audience loves to hear, because then they
Well, I
can
hope
formulate their
so.
own opinions. Yeah, well,
Exactly.
here too, get back to what our society needs more: a conversation, not a bipolar.
Yeah. It can't be black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah, F you.
Yeah, no,
This is
no.
my position. I mean,
Oh, we
let's
actually
be
say
honest.
the word on our show.
No,
Jake
so do
bleeps
we.
that out for
So do we.
us.
He'll bleep it out some, but
All right. Going down. What, Crystal? Let me ask you: is there anything that I haven't asked you that you would love to share, either personally, professionally, like a topic that we haven't covered?
I think I should. Did I skip anything?
Well, I don't know. It's open mic. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Oh, don't tell her it's open mic. She'll rap.
No, please don't.
She'll rap. I've been around her long enough to know. She's go. Oh my god.
Okay.
Don't do it.
Go for it.
Oh, she did for her test. Remember?
This is how we do it. This is how we do it.
I'm having
Friday
flashbacks.
night, and I feel all right. Parties here on the west side.
And to turn it up, designated driver, take the keys to my truck. He's like, what?
Dear God, what did I open?
Yeah.
Mike, you open the mic.
Yeah.
I know. I ask and you shall receive. Thanks for getting vulnerable again.
You're welcome.
All right, Cassie, what is there anything that we didn't go over that you want to talk about?
Anything that we didn't go over that
Because I'm going to hit you up with a bunch of other
Cassie does
fun
have a
questions.
birthday coming up.
Oh, I do. I have a birthday coming
She
up.
has a birthday
Oh.
coming up.
Oh.
You can sing happy birthday.
Oh, I hate the birthday song,
Okay,
though.
good. Obviously.
The birthday song, like,
A 1, a 2, a 3 to the happy birthday, Cassie.
no, my favorite birthday song was the one we would do at the Crab Shack. I used to work at Joe's Crab Shack in
Oh,
college.
yes,
I
she
wore a
did.
tie-dye shirt. I did occasionally wear the crab suit that showed your face. Unfortunately, it showed your face. And it had a crown because it was a king crab. And you'd raise an arm and all the arms would go up with you. So I would get in that. But we did have a fun birthday song, and we would happy birthday to you, and we'd point, and then people would have to be like, I love crabs, or something like that. And so that was my favorite birthday songs that I would ever sing, is making older
We're promoting
ladies.
STDs on the show now.
Older ladies and men
love
talk
crabs.
about their crabs. Yeah,
Wow.
listen. There are worse ways to put yourself through college, okay? I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, exactly.
Anywho, that's my favorite
I worked
birthday
at Cracker
song.
Barrel.
Oh, I love the Cracker Barrel. I love it there. The chairs. The rocking chairs.
I love it.
I was a little more wholesome than
What did
Cassie.
No,
What did I
no,
sign
no,
up
no,
for?
no,
I'm
no,
the
it's
wholesome
good.
one here.
good.
Okay.
Yeah, well, whatever. All right, we're switching. I'm going to go to rapid fire.
Oh, okay. Ooh,
We're going
I'm
to switch it
scared.
up.
Uh-oh.
Switch it up. So I'll go every other.
Uh-oh.
Starting with Crystal.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay.
What is something you are great at cooking?
I'm a really bad cook, so this is rapid. But,
What
enchiladas.
I was going to say deals. She's good at cooking up the deals.
enchiladas.
Oh, that would have been a better
All right,
answer.
Cassie,
No,
what's
you're
the
good.
best advice you've ever been given?
Ooh, best advice I've ever been given is actually we just talked about it. It was about therapy. If you use therapy as vitamins, you won't need it as medicine.
Ooh, Sean, that's pretty deep.
Obviously, we've gotten a lot of therapy.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why we're really down normal.
The show's over now.
People.
There's nothing that can top that one.
It was great advice. I loved it.
Oh, here, talk about apropos. All right, Crystal, back to you. If you could eliminate one thing from your daily routine, what would it be and why?
Ooh.
Meetings.
This meeting
Sorry.
could have been an email.
I was just thinking
Emails.
back to... Oh,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
all right. Cassie, what would you like to do when you retire? I think we already talked about that, but is there
Yeah,
anything...
Beach house.
Yeah.
Beach house. And I love fishing. I
Good.
just love fishing
Ooh,
so
can I
much.
answer that one?
Go ahead. You feel... I guess... Hey, way to steal our thunder.
Well, it's a way to
It's all
steal
about,
it.
it's all about me. Poor Crystal.
So Alex and I want to travel the F1 circuit.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Big fans. They're big fans.
Big fans of F1.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
You want to be a driver? Or just follow it?
just follow it.
All right. Well, you know...
But that would be cool if I was able to do that. Driving kind of scares me.
Paul told me that about retirement. One of his goals is to go to, well, it's not F1, but it's to go to every single MLB stadium,
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
you know?
so be
Every
fun.
ballpark.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool
All right,
one.
back to you. Well, we can do two. Some of these we can do too.
Okay,
Okay.
sorry.
What skill do you think everyone should have?
Oh, is this mine?
Either one.
I think everyone should have interviewing skills.
I think
it's very
everyone should
important.
just have people skills in general.
I mean, truly, if you can encourage youth to be in the service industry, whether it's retail or serving, that to
That
me
is
is one
a-
of
We
the
always
most
talk about
important skills.
bartending. A 3-foot
Yep.
MBA is what we call it.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you haven't been a server, you need to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
And
is
that's
so true.
That's really like I bartended, served.
Yeah.
I was a hostess. I managed Crab Shack. But
You
That's
were
where
a
she got
crabby
fired.
manager.
I was like, no,
crabby.
no, it was an experience. I mean, it's a humbling experience, you know.
Yeah.
At the time, you had to dance. You had to like do the car wash and stuff.
All
You
right.
had to wear the crab
At the
suit.
car wash.
But it was it really teaches you about people. It really, really does.
It does.
It teaches
Yeah.
you how do I balance
That is true.
managing the restaurant's needs with the customer's needs, with my needs. And then you end up, if you go into business, you take that into business, I think. So, yeah, I would say serving skills are very helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, next. What are you reading or listening to right now?
I'm reading the book Radical Candor
Ooh. Okay.
by
Cassie?
Kim Scott. It's good.
I've been listening to
And
a lot of
it's-
podcasts.
Awesome. Me too.
Anyone-
Justin's podcast.
Anyone that you want to share? Again, for the audience sake, that you like, you know, influential, good stuff.
Mac and
mean-
Blue, Building Arizona.
I actually did. I was listening to that
The
on my drive.
CNC?
I was listening, yeah, CNC. No, I was listening to the episode with Krista
yes.
when I was driving
Oh,
around
yeah.
today because I love
Yeah.
driving, you know? And so I like to have podcasts on. I was really big into music driving, and I've switched that into being big into podcast driving because there's so much time spent driving that why wouldn't you use it to learn?
Also, shout out to my girl Diane Ross's podcast. She loves the grid.
She loves grid.
Yes.
There you go.
Nice.
Okay. What movie could you watch over and over again?
The Devil Wears Prada.
Classic.
I love it.
Cassie?
Mine's definitely The Wedding Singer. I mean,
Oh my
that is
gosh, me too.
All-time favorite movie.
Yeah.
I laugh every time. I still laugh. Like I know,
Mine actually
I know
is,
they're coming.
is
and
really,
I
as
laugh.
far as comedy, it's Son-in-Law.
Yeah.
I'm a big
gosh, I
Son-in-Law
haven't seen that in
fan.
forever. It's a great
Old
movie.
school Pauly Shore.
I love Pauly Shore.
We're weirdos.
No, you're not weird.
Fight Club.
What? Crystal, what would you like to be? What would you like to be remembered for?
Ooh.
I would just say that I want people to always remember me for making them smile. Like, I just hope I'm that type of person that I brighten someone's day.
Oh,
I love that.
that's good.
I love that.
Cassie?
What would I like to be remembered for?
Crab Shack.
I wish we would have got these questions
Days in
ahead
the
of
Crab
time, by
Shack.
the way.
Why?
Maybe, I don't know, if I wish I had like a more
Prep-
meaningful
no,
answer
prepping-
or
No,
I
something.
think the candidness and like
Yeah,
the quick
okay.
that helps.
I know it's
give
supposed
the
to be
honest
rapid.
answer.
I don't want it to sound rehearsed.
Fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to go home and think about it.
You were
though.
vulnerable, which
I'm
was
OCD,
nice.
and I'm going to go home and think about it and be like, man, that would have been a
I
better
should have
answer.
said
I'm going to
this.
call you up. later.
I think I want to be remembered for helping people. That is like, I just want to, there's no specific way, just if in any way it can help people. We always ask people that. And so not everyone takes us up on it, but the ones that do, I love that. Like, that's what brings me joy.
Yeah.
All right. Any software or apps that you're using that you can recommend for other people in our industry?
Software or apps?
It's a question we came up with.
I'm like Microsoft Excel.
I use Excel. I use Word.
Yeah, me too.
Right, skip that one.
Excel, Word,
I use Outlook quite a bit.
Okay.
So true.
Teams.
They graduated from Zoom, everyone.
The internet. The Google machine.
Google Chrome.
All right, I'm moving on.
Use the Google machine.
You too.
Oh gosh, we're not even drinking, JJ.
Yet.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay, this one's a little deeper because everyone's going to look to you two for advice because of how awesome you guys do at networking and connections and stuff. What news sources do you use to stay in touch with your niche within the Arizona market? And they could be anything, but
As far as like researching projects or what is
we've tried on this. We've tried to give people that platform in this question of like, Phoenix Business Journal, or like you talked about your networking groups. That those kind of answers is what I'm looking for, just to help the audience go, oh, I didn't think of that, or I didn't think of that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
yes.
So if you have any, if there's secrets, then don't tell them. But you guys don't seem like the kind that
My
have
whole life is
secrets.
secret.
Yes, we keep everything a secret.
But think about those people that are looking for
Yes.
those platforms of how do I get myself out there.
I mean, I like Bex a lot.
Me too.
And
Rebecca was just on.
Yes, I think it's amazing.
I attended my first construction forecast. I hadn't attended one before, and I attended this year. Holy cow, the amount of information that you get.
Love it.
It was amazing for me to come back with a list to my clients of, hey, these are the top 5 K-12 GCs. These are the top 5 design firms for healthcare. And all of that information was just so huge for my clients. And then I was dropping facts. It was like I'd spent my life doing this.
Look at Cassie. She just went up a few IQ points.
I use it to have strategic planning meetings with my
too.
principals. It's a great resource.
There you
Yeah,
go.
so I'm
Well,
big
shout out to Bex and Rebecca.
And Phoenix Business Journal also.
Phoenix Business. I love that.
I do like
They
that.
do a
the
great
emails
job.
roll
Yeah.
in. I love seeing
But
those
Beck's
emails.
number one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just staying, like we're members of NAOP, ULI, AAED is phenomenal. And then also CRENAB. Shout out to CRENAB. Wind Down Wednesday, Renegades, Chicks with Sticks. I also Healthcare Chicks, Women in Healthcare. There's
Make
a million
sure-
organizations, but
Make sure if you haven't signed up, sign up for Best of NAOP. That's a
Yes.
good one
Okay.
in the industry
yes.
for sure.
There you go, folks.
And
You've
if
heard it out of two
you
of the best.
want to be at a really great table with Cassie or myself,
We're gonna share a table.
We're gonna share a table.
Watch out.
we only have a select few
Watch out, world.
invites.
Watch out, world.
Yeah.
But I will say, for people looking for leads, the best lead is a warm lead. So meet people. Don't go to networking events to get leads. Go to networking events to meet
people.
Very well stated.
Yes.
Very well stated.
Yeah.
All right, last two for each of you.
Okay.
It's a truth question.
Oh, good. I'm not good
What's
at
your-
dares.
And try to keep this
Oh gosh.
Uh-oh.
somewhat rated. I'm good with R, just don't go above R.
Okay.
MA might get a little disturbing.
Okay.
What's your biggest fantasy?
That's an interesting
Cassie's over here.
question.
Well, yeah.
What? What?
Well, like professionally,
my mind
personally.
just went to, tell me what's your fantasy? That's where my mind went. And then I just rapped the whole time while I was processing
It's kind of
the
like
question.
that. It's kind of like the other question where it was, if money and time was no object, what would you do? But is there something beyond that? You want to be an astronaut. You want to.
My
swim the English Channel. I don't know.
Oh, let's see.
Oh.
Okay. Oh, like a dream
Fantasy
job.
dream, yeah.
Fantasy. So my dream job. This might make you both laugh. Even ever since I was little, I wanted to be the host on a TV show, and so
Way to go, Vanna.
I always wanted us to be like professional news people.
actually, my degree for a point in time was broadcast journalism.
Yeah.
So it really was.
There's hope.
So that's my dream.
Maybe someday
Hey,
like
the
fantasy is
see
to
us
be a
become
host.
CNC's on a
legit.
trajectory.
CNC.
There you go.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll see like CNC up in lights someday.
CNC in the USA. We'll
I
just
love
keep
it.
moving on up.
Yeah.
Doesn't have the same ring though.
You know.
Well,
You know.
I want to thank both of you for coming on today. It's been an absolute blast.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
And for those of you out there, please subscribe, listen to their CNC on the ANC, or is it in the ANC?
In. Like in the house.
Like
In-
up in
CNC
here.
in
up
the AEC.
here.
I believe on all the usual ones, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, all the usual
Yep.
ones.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
So reach out to them if you have anything that you want advice on. They're all over LinkedIn and every other social media. So Cassie Wells and Crystal Pierce, thanks again for being on today.
Thanks, JJ.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
You've been listening to the Mac and Blue Show, brought to you by Tory Contracting and Blue Wave General Contracting. Be sure to subscribe to the Mac and Blue podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Follow Robert Johnson and JJ Levensky on LinkedIn and Instagram. Tune in live every first and third Thursday at 3 p.m. as we continue to introduce you to the people building Arizona. Walt Disney said, "You can dream, create, design, and build the most wonderful place in the world, but it requires people to make the dream a reality." Until next time, make it a great day.